Okay. Thank you so much for your patience. We're starting now in five, four, three, two, and one. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon, right? Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? You're good? Perfect. So we are here at the Resilience Hub, and this is a session by the Youth Climate Council's Global Alliance and ICAD, and also Cities Alliance. And our theme for this meeting or this session is inclusive city development, the role of young people and the informal sector in leading the change. Inclusive city development, the role of young people and informal sector in leading the change. So this, even though it's a cities and urbanization theme session, it's looking more at what the youth can do to be part of the process in city development. And so our lovely speakers here are going to share their expertise and their experience in how they have involved the youth, the challenges they faced, how things have been looking like in the city level. Have there been a lot of inclusivity? What can be done about it, particularly in cities where we know that there are a large population of people there? So to start with, I will let them introduce themselves. I'll start with myself. My name is Margaret Imprim. I'm the Assistant Global Coordinator for the Youth Climate Council's Global Alliance, and I'm pleased to be the moderator for this session. So I'm going to let you start and you introduce yourself briefly, and you, and then we move on. Okay.
Hi everyone, can you hear me with my Britney Spears mic? I'm Sara, I'm from Brazil. I live in São Paulo, the city of São Paulo, and I'm here mainly representing the Youth Climate Council of the city of São Paulo as the Policy and Research Officer. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Arne Janssen. I'm the Urban Environment Lead of Cities Alliance based in Brussels. We are a UN organization and looking forward to discuss with you today.
Sorry. Hello everyone, I'm Sumaya Binta Salim. I work for International Center for Climate Change and Development, and I'm coordinating the Gender and Climate Change program at ICAD and also supporting our Youth and Loss and Damage program. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a gender balance, so this is good. All right, we will just start by getting an intervention from Rakib. Is Rakib here?
It's Rakib.
I'm Rakib, I'm so sorry. All right, so just gonna let you start, yeah.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. So, a boy born in a place of southern Bangladesh, where he used to growing up with a big family where he had cousins, uncles, and everyone there. And within short time, he lost everything. He lost his home, he lost his house, he lost his schools, his favorite playground, and everything in reversion. And I'm this boy. My name is Almamun Rakib. I'm from southern part of Bangladesh named Borishal. And back in 2009, in reversion, we lost everything. And in 2014, I had to migrate to my city, Borishal, to continue my study. And there I meet with a group of people who work on climate change or who work on climate action. So there I found that I lost my home, my village, my community, everything. And here it has a connection with climate change. And in that time, I found that we need to do something for ourselves. We, the youth, need to do something for our surviving. So in that time, our organization, my organization, we start working on climate action. And after some days, we found that when it's about sustainability, when it's about our organizational sustainability, we need to grow ourselves by ourselves. Then we start our business, and this is it. All of you can see it's just some plates, and you all use single-use plastic plate, and it's not plastic one. This thing we made from fallen erica leaves. We all know that erica nut trees, and we produce this with these fallen erica nut trees. I think I can share with all you. You could see this. Okay, so here is the thing. When we start our business, we think that it's something what like we are doing for our survival, for surviving our community. This thing, when we just made this, we are collecting this from local community, local people, and they are going to be benefited from this. And nowadays we are talking about city development, sustainable city development, and where one thing is missing, what is that we are using a lots of plastic wastes, and this thing could replace this thing. Like when you are talking about sustainable city, you have to start sustainable practice, and this could be the alternative of plastic. But where is the problem? Problem is when we started our journey, we had a big hope that everyone will support us, we'll get lot of investment, people will love this. And but thing is that when we start our business, we found that no one is there for help us. Like it's a product, we need just small support, a small investment, or a small grant to grow it. And we are looking for like scaling this thing. So like we were in bank and they said that you are a youth. Why I will invest on you? What is the proof? How you will grow? You don't know many things about business. Yeah, that's true. I don't know much more about business. I don't know how to write stuff perfectly, but I can produce thing and what is need for sustainable future. And my products are number one quality. All I can do is produce things. And I'm youth, I'm energetic, I know how to work, and I can produce what you can see here. But how we will survive? Like when I started my business, I got just $1,000 investment from UNICEF and Genio, as I own one competition there. And after that, I was back to door to door, and I asked investment. I asked for investment, and no one is there for you. And today here we are talking about sustainable cities, cities development, and youth inclusion. And my question is to all of you that as a youth who just try to provide his input in this process, and he is not getting any support, then without ignoring him, without when you are ignoring him, then how you will say that you are making this inclusion in sustainability? Where is the youth inclusiveness? It's my question to all of you. So yeah, that's it. I would love to get a question from all of you if you have any. So yeah, thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great. So we would come to questions, yes. Yes, after the panel, they would speak to it, and then we come for questions. Yes, thank you so much. All right, great. So let me start with Sumaya. And from what he just, showed to us, shows that there are a lot of youth entrepreneurs who are in the system and they want to make things work, but there is no inclusive ecosystem. So how do you think we should bring that inclusive ecosystem for young entrepreneurs like him and anyone here and even those watching online, that they be able to also be part of the city development? Because city develops has to bring some economic benefits even for the youth. So how do we make sure the ecosystem is inclusive for everyone?
So if I want to talk about the inclusiveness specifically for the youth, and also when it is the city-based youth inclusion, I need to get some background. So I'm from Bangladesh. I'm from a developing country, and we do represent the LDCs, also some other countries. So when it comes to the LDCs and some other countries like Bangladesh, who are already overpopulated, and the major cities are already burdened, then when you are thinking of some sustainable ecosystem for the management of the city, whether it's youth inclusive or women and gender inclusive, you need to like you need to manage and you need to plan accordingly. And when it comes to the major cities of Bangladesh and some other countries who are overpopulated already, they are not very much sustainable in position to work on. So it's now to focus on the secondary cities too. So when it comes to the secondary cities, you heard about Rakib's story. So he is from one of our southern coastal district of Bangladesh, from Borishal. So we are kind of now focusing on engaging the local government and local authorities to empower the youth, to get them some capacity to work on the whole process. So the issues that Rakib has raised, it was included, one of the major portion was from the bank and from the Economic Institute, and also the systems that they don't know about. So if we can mentor them in a proper segmentation, like not everyone is for the entrepreneurship, not everyone is for the climate change work. So we can just segregate the whole bunch of youth, we can get involved into the city system work. In Bangladesh, we have a youth, like from government, there is a youth department. So there are some capacity building workshop in that place too, but they are very limited in seats. So what our organization like ECAD do is, we try to capacitate the youth with the collaboration of the government. So we started to even give them seed grant that they don't need to like go through with much processing of the economical system, but so that they can actually start the whole thing. And if you like have something to show, then the economic system and the institutions are convinced that okay, you are gone through that, you achieved that, then you have some like feasibility in your work, so we can like work with you. So this is one of the things. So I'll just focus on the three points actually in very brief. That one is, when you have like overpopulation, you need to use the youth mostly, because like most above 50% of our population are from the youth age category. So, and the second portion is we are trying to collaborate with the government and non-government organization, and we will keep trying on that, and we are advocating with government in many sides. You will just see the participation from Bangladeshi youth in this COP2. This is one of our achievements too in this regard. And the third portion is the secondary cities that also need to be focused to get more youth who are actually vulnerable, who are facing the vulnerability from the climate change and from the urbanization mostly, but not getting any recognition or focus. So we need to work from them too. So this is the three points that I want to raise. No, okay, thank you. Sorry. So these are the three points that I want to raise. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So this brings me to Sarah. You have been part of the Youth Climate Council in Brazil, which is at the city level. Like, you know how Brazil is very huge. Maybe tell us how the process has been in terms of including the youth. I mean, they are speaking with local government. How is it in a big place like Brazil with all the cities? And have you had some challenges you'd want to share? And have you had some way forward, if you want to share that as well?
Should I use this?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Margaret, again for the question, and thank you, everybody. It's an honor for me to be here speaking on behalf of the Youth Climate Council in São Paulo. We started the experience with the council last year, in the beginning of the year, and we decided to start at the city level because in Brazil we were still under the government of Bolsonaro last year, so it was not a possibility for us to begin at the national level, mainly because of all the constraints for social participation at the federal level. And the main mission of the Youth Climate Council as an structure is to promote meaningful and effective participation for young people in the climate policy agenda. Because we understand that young people are one of the most affected groups for the climate change consequences, and you're still not being part of the decision-making processes. So the idea of having a council is for us to have this institutionalized space to guarantee this participation, and also in a meaningful way. And when we started at the city level, we started to promote the engagement with the policymakers. So the main way we do that is by engaging with policymakers. So I think we do have some similarities in the experience. And I think that we do face a lot of challenges because even at the city level, we don't have a majority of the city councilors that are pro-climate. So it's a process of bringing awareness at the same time that you are bringing this idea, this proposition of institutionalizing a space for youth participation. And we did that throughout the whole year in 2022. And when we came here for COP27, it was the first international event that President Lula was already elected officially. So we took this window of opportunity to also demand the creation of the Youth Climate Council at a national level. So we got together, we're a coalition of other youth organizations. We are now a coalition of over 50 organizations of youth. And we are demanding this, we are still demanding it. It's been 1 year, but it's an advocacy process, so it takes a while. And what we did for the national level, we demanded to the president, and after that we had several agendas with the environment ministry, with the indigenous peoples ministry, and the idea is for us to promote this at the national level, but we are still working also at the city level. And what we did at the city level this year is we decided to share the experience we had with other cities, because we understand that having this as a movement in Brazil is going to give us the strength to make it institutional in different parts of the country that is continental size, as you all know. So we developed this guide for the establishment of local youth climate councils. We already have one similar for the international experience, because the Youth Climate Council in Brazil was inspired by the youth climate councils in other countries. They started at the north, the global north, and in Ghana, it was the first one in the south, the global south. So we started in Latin America from this experience, and we do have a toolkit that shares the experiences of each country. So we decided to do that with the experience of São Paulo to promote the idea of having the youth climate councils at the city level. So we did this guide. I hope we can share it with everyone somehow. We have a QR code. But we explained basically the step-by-step that we took to promote this at the city level in São Paulo. So how we started to organize, to understand the context of the climate agenda in São Paulo, what other councils and forums were there already that we could participate and engage, what are the civil society organizations that we had to mobilize to get the trust to also share this opportunity with us. And also, we developed this law proposal that is like a template that can be adapted for other cities and other states. So now we are already like demanding this at the city level in São Paulo, but we are also helping other youth organizations in different cities of Brazil that are also trying to mobilize this in their territories. So they can take the law proposal, adapt it to their context, and also demand to the policymakers in their cities to institutionalize the councils. And we did have one successful experience already in Rio de Janeiro. It was very recent. One city councilor in Rio decided to promote the law proposal, so we are now in the process of adopting the first one to be institutionalized. It was first then São Paulo that we have been working for almost 2 years now, but we understand that the context is different from each city. So it's part of the process, and we are happy that we are being able to make this a movement in different cities of Brazil.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm happy to hear there have been successes. I'll be very sad if I had only challenges. I'm happy to hear that it has worked somewhere. So it gives me the assurance and the comfort that it's going to work other places as well. So let's move to Annie. Being in Cities Alliance, you work a lot with informal settlements, and just share with us, what are the biggest challenges young people face in advancing climate action in informal settlement? And ensuring that, maybe also let us know what tools or mechanisms that already exist that you're using, or that you'd want to advise others to also use to empower them, to ensure that they are also inclusive role players in climate action, even though they're in informal settlements.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I just want to compliment also from what the colleagues said on bottom-up approaches, looking from a Cities Alliance perspective as a global partnership with a diverse membership. So we have national governments, we have local governments, we have organized civil society, we have scientific organizations, and we all come together in this diversity with a unified goal, which is improving the life of people living in cities, and especially the urban poor, to start there. And this involves, I guess, different levels. You were talking about bottom-up approaches. You also need to work on top-down approaches, and I can share with you maybe some examples here. So the question for us is, how do we best reach young people in cities, especially in slums? How do we ensure they get a say? And this is, I guess, also in your experience, a very, very difficult and very long process. So what we heard in the fast-growing cities, not only the primary city, but also secondary cities, fast-growing, urbanization rate is high, but the majority is young people, right? So how do you deal with this? So for some of our observations, so there is not much direct communication with governments on the issue, especially the higher you get into the chain. Maybe the local ward will still know, but if you come to the mayor level, and so it's getting thin. Often young people aren't seen as a distinct group with an important role to play. So these are things we think that we also heard from our colleague from Bangladesh here, how young people are underestimated in their capacities and skills. But what we believe at Cities Alliance is also that we need the young people to shape the future, to drive the climate action. And this is an observation we have since many years in different projects, not necessarily 100% labeled climate change projects, but in each and every project, to get the buy-in and get the inspiration and the motivation of young people, is key for success of most of all of the projects, I would say. We put together some of the learnings in a recent publication. It's just 10 pages, very easy to read. I would recommend to have a look. And I guess this is something, and you shared the example from Brazil also. This is something we need to even do more, right? To connect and see what was working. Oh, this is working here. Maybe we can use it also in some of our projects. So, I mean, Cities Alliance as an implementation organization also is trying to take these lessons serious and try to engage youth and women, actually, especially from the very beginning in our project. And we have seen 3 maybe takeaways there. So education is key, and this is not a top-down education. This is also something about how does climate change affect you in your daily life? To have an inclusive process with the community to identify, okay, yeah, this is climate adaptation, this is climate mitigation. I mean, these are just words, but they have actual meaning, of course, on the ground. And to go through this process, I guess, is key for people to better understand and then use this knowledge to encourage other people to join the initiative and to talk about this topic. And I guess young people are really key, and they will be most affected then by the change of climate. So they have a vital interest. So use them as champions to convey the message and to bring this to success. Yeah, thanks.
Use the young people as champions to convey the message and ensure that you don't underestimate the young people. Thank you so much, Annie. At this point, I would like to know if there's some questions. We're going to include your intervention as well. If there are any questions for our 4 speakers for this part, and then just some few questions if there are online and here. Any question from anyone? Yes? Okay. Oh, okay.
You talked a little bit about, oh, thank you. You talked a little bit about institutionalizing space for youth participation. What does that look like, and what was the engagement like in your experience?
Okay. Maybe second question come. Yeah. Second question. There's a second question, yes.
My question was similar.
Okay.
A lot of times we have young people being activists, and then when you're put on the spot and you asked, what are you doing within your community? And then you have nothing to say. So how do you then demonstrate that young people are doing something in terms of climate action? Thank you.
Okay, maybe the last question, and then we answer this one. The last question?
Good afternoon. My name is Terry from Kenya. Inclusive city development, how does that look in the eyes of urban informal settlements? I come from Kibera, it's an urban informal settlement. How does that look like? And maybe if the panel, if any of you is working in the inclusive city development space, how has it been for you working in the urban informal settlements given the challenge of space and climate change in that lens?
Okay, let's start with Sarah.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. I think that just to begin with, explaining why is this important, the part of institutionalizing a council. I think that when we look to the context of the civil society, of the youth organizations that are engaged in the city, we see a lot of activism, but not all the time they know how to engage with policymakers. So I think that there is a lack of dialogue between the two sides, and the idea of the council is to be this bridge between what the civil society is already doing, what are their demands, what are the solutions they are bringing, and what are the policymakers working on, because sometimes they are working on a policy or something that is related and they don't connect. So the idea of the council is to have this connection. And when we say that we want this to be institutionalized, is because we want it to be, we say it in Portuguese, I don't know if it translates well, but we say like a policy of state and not a policy of a deputy or a city councillor. Because when you have the engagement with a policymaker, it's something that you can lose if this person leaves the Congress or leaves the city chamber. When you have the council institutionalized, this is something that is going to continue for decades, and you have the full experience to share with other people later. So we do have in Brazil many councils that are referenced that exist for 30, 40 years, and their experience is something that we can bring to inspire different councils. Because when they started, the climate change and youth climate change councils was not a thing, was not something that was being discussed. So now we can take their experience and use it as an inspiration for ours too. So the idea of having institutionalized is for this, is for us to have this space guaranteed, even if the government changes, even if it's not a left-wing government anymore or not a pro-climate city councillor anymore. And I think that the challenge is something that we are facing in São Paulo, is that most of the chamber is not pro-climate. So it's difficult to engage different policymakers, and we don't want it to be a law proposal of one policymaker. This is one strategy that we decided to use. We want it to be a multiple policymakers law proposal. This is something we can do in São Paulo. I don't know if this is the same for different countries, but we really didn't want it to make like a political parties thing or a policymaker thing. We want it to be more a democratical space, and we want this to be democratic from the beginning. So I think that this is the main challenge, because for us to engage with more parliamentarians, it takes more time, and it's easy to put a law proposal, but if it's not accepted, if it doesn't have the budget to move forward and be implemented, then it's not worth it. So this is why we are taking more time to make sure that once we get there, we have the budget, we have more policymakers with us in this idea, and we can actually implement the council. And so far we have been working as what we call a popular council, that is a council that works. We have a network of organizations, we are producing content, we are getting data from the youth, on what they think about the policies that are being discussed. So we are already doing the work of a council, but we are not institutionalized, and we want it to be. So this is where we are now.
Okay, Annie?
Maybe just also to complement on this, and also looking a bit into the question of inclusive city development, I guess this fits perfectly together, although the question is, of course, very, very broad and very hard to answer. But from our observations is, as I said, the education part that would include capacity building for young people to know, like you said, to know where they can actually influence, right? And to see, okay, there's so much energy and they want to do a lot of things, but how can this be channeled best to make a change, make a difference, or try to make a difference and influence local decision makers? Of course, and you mentioned the political environment. This needs, of course, a minimum of a political environment that is open for these kind of questions. So, of course, we are talking. Maybe some realities look, of course, different on the ground. But I think I also like to make it an institution. So that's a very good point of not putting your hope on one politician, or not putting your hope on one charismatic leader, maybe also in the youth, right? I mean, you have to put it on different shoulders to get this message right. Inclusive city, for me, especially in growing cities, it starts with the planning. You have to get the basic planning right, even if you don't have maybe the capacity to build roads, to build schools, to build all the infrastructure that is necessary for the city, including preserving maybe ecosystems that are vital to a city that is growing. But you have to have a basic planning and a basic idea of where to put people, because they will come anyway, right? So this is something we realize sometimes the local governments are like, we need to get the planning until 100% detail right. No, start with some basics. Start with having urban expansion planning, how we call it, some basic ideas of this is how the city should develop, and these are areas that needs to be conserved for instance, schools. Here should be a road, this should be a public park at some point, and make sure that people don't settle there. And if you, and there comes the point maybe where you can include young people and make it more inclusive. If you then include the neighbors in the planning and tell them this is the plan, at some point we will get there, but we have to make sure that these areas are free from settlements, right? So make them, again, the champions maybe of their own planning, of their own area in the city. And this is something you can do with some basic capacities. You don't have to have a fully fleshed out urban planning section in your secondary city. Maybe you can start with something smaller, but make sure you involve the neighborhood, and this would be the inclusive part from my side.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, I'm gonna throw it to you. I want to believe that if you're seated in this room, then you relate with what is going on in the city with regards to inclusive city development and having the youth come on board. So I'd maybe want 3 people to share with me their experience in cities regarding themselves as youth or working with youth. How has it been? What measures have you put in place? We would love to learn from you. So what have been your challenges? What you've been doing about it? Anyone wants to share? Perfect. Any other person? Maybe 3 people? 1? Okay, yeah. Okay, maybe you can just come to the front. Sorry about that.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Mary Molinda. I'm coming from Zambia, an SDI youth. And I grew up in an informal settlement, a slum, which is known as George Compounds. So I work with Slum Dwellers International as one of the youth, the active youth there. And we've been doing quite a number of works where climate change is concerned. And one of them is, as youth from Zambia, from SDI, we've been collecting data in our informal settlements and also collecting stories, because many other times when we see people or media in our area, especially slums, is when there's, a scandal, when there are bad things happening. But young people and the people in the slums, they've been able to come up with different solutions based on the particular challenges that they are facing regarding climate change. So us as youth from SDI, not only in Zambia, but also Kenya, Uganda, Namibia, we've been able to come up with solutions and also collecting our own data on those challenges that we are facing. And also, as youth from SDI, we are amplifying voices of the community, because it's not everyone who's here. It's not everybody who can attend COP, but how have we managed to sell the information? So we do poems. We'll come up with a poem on climate change, climate resilience. We'll do songs and also engage the members of the community who are in the markets, people who are unable to understand English. I believe that, like, looking at the area where I'm coming from, it's not everybody who can speak English. And how do we make sure that the information on climate change has reached them? Through different activities that we do, arts. So we engage them. We also engage the local communities who are able to understand and speak the same language with them, so that at the end of the day, they are not left out and their voices are heard. And also, one of the things that we've been doing through the help of Slum Dwellers International is that we've been able to have exchange visits. I'll give an example. Recently, we had an exchange whereby a youth from Zambia, she went to Namibia to learn about what the Namibians youths are doing regarding climate change, of which the time that she came back, it was a learning point. We had to share knowledge and information on how to deal with certain challenges that we are facing in the country. And the challenges that, I'll talk of the challenges that we've been having, is that people would involve us in climate change, but they wouldn't engage us. Many other times when we have people who have NGOs who would come to us to involve us in different things regarding climate change, but at the end of the day, we'll give them our challenges, we'll give them the knowledge, we'll tell them what we want, but at the end of the day, when it's time for us to hear or expect what we had taught them, we won't see it. It's a thing whereby we are being involved but not being engaged fully. So what I can say is that it's not too late for us young people to change the community. It's not too late for us young people to come up with those great solutions and just be able to adapt to climate change. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other person who wants to share more about the challenges? Okay, if you could come forward, maybe briefly.
Can I speak?
But have a chance to speak to this young entrepreneur. So I'm bringing my back to show you something. I think everyone here know what this thing is. Yes, everyone can grow it everywhere. It takes let's say 3 months to be mature and to be used for every purpose. Okay, if you start using this, it's called loofah almost everywhere. If you start using this one, you will save. You won't be using plastic anymore in your kitchen, or maybe less in your shower. And it's very good for your skin, especially for ladies. I become a bit, elegant thanks to this. So this is a very simple solution to avoid plastic. And if we can use it I think in our cities, we save money because it's very cheap. And also we'll avoid many contamination because using plastic to make to clean our dish, it's really something. It leaves something on our plates. We don't know that. You know, plastics plus chemical products, chemical soaps, it gives us not vitamins. You see, so I have proposed to this gentleman to add this product to his range of products. It's easy to use. We don't need chemical to grow it. It's like cucumber, you know. I can send you seeds if you don't find it in your country, but I'm sure you have it. And it can go everywhere, even here. So that will be, my challenge is to avoid plastic in my kitchen and in my shower. So I start giving it to my colleague. I'm from CTCN, by the way. Joseph Badevokil. I'm from Sidi Cayenne. And when I was I went to, because I work remotely, I live in Congo. When I met with my colleagues last time in Nairobi, I granted to everyone some of this. They were very happy. Even my CEO, he ordered me to bring some more. Bought a bag of this one. So this is something, yes, some of my challenge.
Thank
you.
You
See, not only young people can do something, but at my age, I'm 58, you see, so that's my contribution.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome.
We are honored to have a mayor of Banjul, Gambia. Yes, okay. In the person of Madam Rohim Malik, thank you so much for making time with us. As she's catching her breath, I would like her to particularly share very briefly, before we just wrap up everything, your experience as a mayor in a big city in Gambia. How has inclusive city development looked like, particularly bringing the youth and those in the informal sector on board? Just that, yeah.
Thank you very much. And first and foremost, thank you for inviting me in a platform that is very close to my heart, because I work a lot with the youth. And I think if you ask anybody who is Mayor Lowe, they will tell you the mayor of the youth and the women. So I appreciate being here today. And I've just said to one of my sons here, who lured me into bringing me here, so it means I have to come here by and fast. And then it was like, okay, it's just 1 minute, we'll reach there in 1 minute. And I end up walking 25 minutes to be here. Anyway, as I said, first I want to say that I have hopes in the youth of Africa. Now we live in a global village, and I am very sure that our youth in the next 10, 15 years, Africa will be totally different. But how can we do this? Do we have to leave it only in the hands of the youth, or we as policymakers has a stake on this? I am saying yes, we as policymakers should try by all means to change the status quo for the youths, for our youths. Through that, they can change Africa. And Africa is a continent that is very rich in everything, human capital, you name it, resources and all. But why are we not progressing? Women in Africa and youth in Africa, they're very vulnerable. Even though with all these resources I've said, then we know that something is wrong. And the bigger problem is a problem of negotiation, a problem of mentality. And I am saying this because all this has effects on climate change. Because when you talk about the vulnerability of women and the vulnerability of youth and the impact that climate change has on them, you cannot take out the issues of corruption, for example, in Africa. This is where the problem lies. We have a very big problem. Unless and until we address that problem, We cannot sit in platforms and talk about mitigation and adaptation. We first have to deal with our policies and our issues. From the very little that I am able to do as the mayor of the capital city, Banjul, and being the first female mayor in the Gambia, and also the only mayor that has ever been re-elected in the capital city, that shows me that the little that I am contributing is absorbed by the youth. Because today, every politician that wants to excel must listen to the youth, or otherwise you cannot go. So this is a platform where we are talking about cities, we are talking about climate change, but then who are we addressing? Indeed, we are talking to our youths. So, Madam Moderator, this is a platform where when I have the opportunity, I always want to talk to my daughters and to my sons, because I know they are the only one who can change Africa, and I know you people can do it. From the small that I can, I have budget in my city that only addresses youth issues. I know they are very ambitious, they want a lot, but we should also, as policymakers, always try to encourage them and push them. We should all adopt in our budgets the SDGs, which is more or less complementing the actions of climate change. If you look at the SDG 1 to the SDG 17, we talk about partnership. It's all about nothing but how to change lives of our youth. Because for me, in the next 10 years, I cannot sit here and talk to you people. So I want you to remember my message, especially the youth of Africa, that you are the one who can change Africa. And 100%, I am confident that you people can do it. I have lots of platforms. I meet with lot of presidents. I meet with lot of leaders. And this is always my message. It doesn't matter which platform I sit, I took the opportunity, or I take the opportunity to always tell our leaders that we should concentrate to the empowerment of our youths. We should stop encouraging our youths to pull the leaders down. We should encourage them to be a developer. We should encourage them to development. We should encourage them for capacity. We should encourage them to develop themselves. In that way, the world will change. And Madam Moderator, can I stop here at the moment?
Yes.
I am sorry that I have to divert your whole question to something else. But I think this is a platform that can give me the opportunity to talk to my daughters and my sons. So let me just wait for the
Thank you so much for the inspiring words. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. And thank you to our speakers for the brilliant words you've spoken to us, and to those who also shared your experiences with us. Thank you so much. We will wrap up with Joy giving us a lovely performance. So this is our final act for the day, people. I hope you enjoyed. Let's give it up for Joy. Okay. Okay, so let me just be the linguist before the chief speak. So this is a youth activism song, and it's in her indigenous language, Chakma, and also in English. So this is something for the youth and for us. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone, and thank you for coming to our event. And this is a song I co-wrote with my another brother, whose name is Maclean Chakma, and I'm from the Chakma indigenous community. And it's a song from Harry Belafonte, Jamaica Farewell. So the way Harry Belafonte wrote this song as he's bidding farewell to Jamaica, but the Jamaica is still in his heart. And to me, I just imagine the lyrics as the where I came from, which is like Chittagong Hill Tracks. and that's my root, and that's where my parents were born, and I was born there also. And this is the song that I imagine that, okay, I'm also bidding farewell to my Chittagong Hill Trust wherever I go, but it still will be in my heart. And if you want to see the lyrics of the song, and it's basically the translation of the song in Chakma language. Fodohure oi mon moron sido bek thami sai figura Sazonir fagot tharante folor thumbaze mona nazizai hon areganit se thozimpur momonantai bazimun murun ezo tantai dise tannebi sabun furit sabun bunegit geni sidene se sugordin mamonot pase onozur se gango faran mamon moron hero bogot monan zaidi ari hon arganit se thozimpur mamonantai basimun murun ezo tantai dise tannebi sabun furit sabun bunekit geni. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And also, I want to add that this is from my traditional dress, and I'm wearing it as a scarf. This is called hadi, and there is also the lower part that is called pinon, which I have not worn today because of all of the walking and all. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So this has been a session by the Youth Government Council's Global Alliance, Cities Alliance, and ACAD. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. Thank you so much for everyone who was here today, and we look forward to engaging some more. So thank you and have a great day.